Hey y'all, it's Alex here, flying solo. Derek's celebrating his birthday, Walsh is doing Father's Day stuff, so you're stuck with my stupid ass. Luckily, that means we can keep this short, sweet, and to the point. Uh, we'll cover the usual stuff, Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, all that fun stuff. But before we get into that, gotta cover some mix-ups that's happening over in the world of TNA. Currently, they're shopping around for sale. It seems like a lot of people are walking, they're signing new people, so on. The headline is Tommy Dreamer, who was in charge of booking, so to speak, running the show creative wise. Since his release, let go, firing, what have you, a lot of people coming up the woodwork just to share some stories, experiences. Usually, when someone leaves a long tenured position in the world of wrestling, you got like two options, right? You get the people who are like, oh my God, thank you to this person who helped me so long in my career and so forth. Or you have the other type. Tommy Dreamer is the other type. A lot of people coming out of stories of, racism, misogyny, so on. Nothing criminal, but that could be, still show its face. Just kind of real scumbag behavior. Nothing surprising. It's Tommy Dreamer. Uh, Honestly, we'll see what happens with TNA going forward. Probably something, just keep your eyes on. If anything exciting happens, we'll let you know. But right now, it's just more of the same. TNA gonna TNA kind of stuff, so to speak. Anyway, we are in the final stages before Night of Champions for WWE and Forbidden Door for AEW. Honestly, lots of people going around this past week seem to have the same opinion of both pay-per-views right now at this point, or PLE, I'm sorry, excuse me. In the aspect of neither one of these really feels right. Night of Champions, honestly, up until I think SmackDown, there wasn't actually any championships being defended on the Night of Champions, but that got changed on SmackDown, which we'll cover when we get there. And Forbidden Door isn't feeling so much like Forbidden Door is the sort of scuttlebutt I'm seeing around the internet. Let's be honest, a lot of extenuating circumstances this year with Forbidden Door, mainly with visa issues being the overall issue of getting talent for the show and being able to secure people who can be there on the night. And it's unfortunately the reality of the world that we live in right now. Unfortunately, you can't make it go away just because you have a show to do. There's political issues at play there. That being said, both shows, I guess there's stuff to look forward to. Mainly, when it comes to AEW, the pay-per-views don't miss. So Tony Khan's going to do to the best of his ability to make it worth your money. We know that he's earned that. Night of Champions, middling. It's not one of the big pay-per-views. It's more like a pit stop on the way to SummerSlam at this point, given that we've got the whole King and Queen of the Ring tournaments happening. That being said, let's just run through Raw here real quick. Starting off, of course, no surprise, more Bloodline stuff. This is just never going to end. It's going to keep going for as long as they can pay Roman Reigns and as long as the Usos are around. But I will give them some credit of at least doing something interesting with it this week. We have Jimmy, Jey, and Roman basically actually welcoming the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu, into the Bloodline. It's very clear that they're going along the path of like, okay, Roman has his plans for Jacob, Jey, and much less Jimmy aren't really involved in those plans. Jey doesn't trust Jacob. Yes, exactly. It's a replay of the whole, Solo Sikoa storyline. Apparently, though, Roman has learned his lesson from there, I guess, so to speak. He's granting a lot more leeway with Jacob. He's giving him a lot more praise than he did with Solo when we were running through that whole thing. Uh, Essentially, this whole segment is to present Jacob Fatu with his own Ula Fala. It's not the same as Roman's. It's a brown one. It has a different connotation in the culture. Uh, Basically, he's deeming him his new second in command, we'll say. Uh, then, after this prolonged segment has gone on for as long as it has, we have the Bloodline making their exit, getting dapped up by Eric André, who is there because they're promoting a Netflix tie-in with a John Cena movie, something brother, big brother, little brother, something like that. Can't remember what it is. Anyway, he daps up all the Bloodline except for Jacob Fatu, who he jingles his new ceremonial necklace like it's a pair of balls, and pretty quickly, I mean, that everybody saw the writing on the wall. Eric Andre gets tossed wonderfully, obliterated by Jacob Fatu, and security rushes in, try and stop him. He climbs to the top rope, nobody actually blocking the splash that he's about to receive, and Roman Reigns perfectly leaning into who we've always known he's been, the heel manipulative son of a bitch, is on the apron, gets Jacob to stop, and then tells him, fuck it, go ahead, get in there, give him a good old splash with the biggest smile on his face. Really, it's just more of the same with Roman, unless they actually do something that isn't awesome. He's just going to be received as a face. Like, people are just going to cheer for Roman. They've got to figure out a way, if they want him to be received as a heel, to actually have him do something that people won't think is awesome. That's just what it is. I'm sorry, like, Eric Andre is not going to gather sympathy for getting splashed by Jacob Fatu. That's just fucking cool, you know? But this kind of is setting up the ongoing Bloodline thread for the rest of the week, both on Raw and SmackDown. Jacob Fatu is finding where his place is in line with the rest of the Bloodline, so to speak, taking orders from Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, and not really bowing to anybody else. Of where he fits in that hierarchy, he now sees himself as number 2. That's just how it's going to be going forward. And whatever, fine. I still see this as like, okay, they neutered Jacob Fatu for this storyline when they could have elevated him already. Honestly, we might see more just with the whole shenanigans with Jey and Jimmy, and kind of a repeat of where we were before with them, with, okay, all's not good in the Bloodline, somebody's got to step out, face Roman, maybe take a loss, fight back, get their win, split off, go do a singles run, and then repeat ad nauseum for the next 5 years. It's probably going to be like, geez. Ugh. Anyway, after that, we've got Queen of the Ring semifinals, Iyo Sky facing Raquel. This whole tournament on the women's side has been kind of perfunctory, almost pointless. Solid action, but the results have always been seeming kind of meh. I don't really care. Doesn't feel like anybody's really fighting for a title opportunity at SummerSlam. It just feels like, well, how are they going to screw this up and delay this even longer? Because right now we've got Rhea, who is banged up. I don't think they've gone into the specifics of her injury with her title. And then Liv, who is in the tournament itself and currently, as of recording, still likely to be the winner, it seems like, or at least be the runner-up. I mean, it's so damn terrible the way that this has been booked. But Raquel and Iyo facing off, solid. Liv's not there. She's busy doing stuff with Roxanne, I guess. We're doing more teasing with the Judgment Day. The sort of edging that Triple H loves, where we're just going to keep running this story into the ground until we have lost the plot. Nobody cares anymore. And we try and capitalize on it past its expiration date. But Iyo gets the win here, so at least it's not going to be Liv versus Raquel in the finals, teasing more Judgment Day shenanigans. Uh, and it Iyo being involved, nobody hates. Everybody loves Iyo. She's entertaining. She always puts on a great match. And it always just kind of feels like, okay, so if Iyo gets the win here, she's obviously going after Liv because Rhea and her are close. They're friends. She's not going to want her title. Also, without having any timeline for Rhea being in ring shape, don't see how you could actually book around that. Moving past that, we got Chad Gable returning to proper action this time, facing off against Rusev after last week where he, disgraced Rey Mysterio and demasking him in that match. Just solid all around. There was an onslaught of interference in the form of All Ego, Ethan Page. Good. Keep mixing it up with all these intercontinental guys. Like, everybody's getting involved in this at some point. God, a lot of good teasing of submissions here with Gable and Rusev. Rusev played his part perfectly. No shade on him. I wish there was more for him in the cards, so to speak, just because he's a solid utility guy. He can play a monster if need be. He can be pretty humorous when they let him, but doesn't seem like that's going to be the direction you're going to go with him. Fine, whatever. But after, successfully teasing and getting Rusev to finally, succumb to Chad Gable's onslaught of submissions and suplexes, he gets the win. Of course, we get, everybody sort of bum rushing the formerly known El Grande Americano, and he is saved after the bell by Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, which, once again, keep pushing this stuff with, okay, Gable earned the respect of the luchadors. He can maybe get a push now that's reasonable. I'd like to see him on the chase for the IC title, even though Penta's holding it. I feel like a begrudging respect earned between the two of them could lead to an actual, like, solid match where there's no cheating, there's no shenanigans. It's just all about who's the better wrestler. And Gable could finally get the win. Penta could retain. Don't hate either option. It's one of those times where you could actually take advantage of, neither guy is going to look worse in defeat, which is something that is missing in a lot of WWE programming, but it is what it is. There was a backstage segment with Bloodline stuff. Roman asking why LA Knight's still out there running his mouth and how come nobody's done anything about it. And each one of the Bloodline guys are like, yeah, no, let me take care of it, boss, whatever you say. And eventually it's been tasked to Jimmy to be like, no, I'll handle it. Let me talk to him. Yeah. And there's obviously Roman's just in Jacob Fatu's ear and be like, no, you actually fucking take care of this guy for me, will you please? Put him out to pasture. But all this is to set up LA Knight making his way to the ring, sitting down with the crowd, and doesn't really waste any time. Just calls out the Bloodline. There's whatever. Like, Jimmy gets out there to actually talk to him, tries to get him to reconsider everything, but immediately Jay is like, nah, fuck that. Like, we ain't doing that. After that heated promo he had last week, he obviously can't dial it back and doesn't really do either one any favors. It's just Jacob Fatu shows up on the scene, puts the Tongan death grip on him, and just depletes LA Knight in that moment. Really just makes Jimmy and Jey look like, kind of like a bit of a chuckling henchman, and Jacob Fatu being the real killer, the real threat in the Bloodline again. It's okay. Honestly, I would have liked to see LA Knight get, an upper hand for a second before Jacob Fatu really took him out. Like, surprise, Jacob's here, after he's kind of like battered the Usos back and forth a little bit, but that's not how this plays. Anyway, what should have been probably more interesting followed this. We got Charlotte Flair facing off against Roxanne Perez because Charlotte is in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Roxanne's not, but lives in the tournament. So Roxanne's got to, soften up Charlotte before their match on SmackDown. It's fine. Just fine. Felt like this could have gone really any sort of way and it would have been fine. It's like it's a testament to both how good Charlotte and Roxanne are, where there's not much to this, didn't need much to this. This was kind of just like a little side quest for Charlotte, little anime filler episode just to keep the momentum going. Uh Honestly could have used, some more stuff with Alexa Bliss, rest of the Judgment Day getting mixed up in there. Some more stuff with Raquel. Obviously couldn't hurt where, she feels slighted because Liv has been favoring Roxanne all of a sudden. Something there. Something there. And following that, we got Javon Evans doing some stuff to hype up his, King of the Ring match on SmackDown. He's interrupted by Logan Paul and Austin Theory on Division. What the hell was this? Like, this was the most, like, pointless addition to what's going on with the Vision, as if you could say that about anything with the Vision. Like, what do the Vision have to offer to anybody? Yes, I know they have the tag team championship belts, but Logan Paul, you're injured for who knows how much longer with your torn tricep. Austin Theory and Bron Breakker are your current tag champions. You don't really have anybody else. No word on Bronson Reed on where his status is returning. Saw tease of his on social media. Dude's been hitting the gym, rehabbing, good. Hopefully he stays in decent shape, as healthy as can do all the things that he wants to do. But the Vision has been not just dead on arrival, it's a lumbering corpse. Like, the only reason they get booed is because people hate seeing Logan Paul on their screen. They love to boo him. And Austin Theory, he's solid hand. He does the most of what he can with whatever he's given, but nobody really cares too much about him. There was the teasing of the stuff with Maxine Dupree, and that hasn't really been given anything concrete development wise. They teased a bit of it with, Tozawa and Otis talking to Maxine about it, but that's really it. No real definition of what they're going to be attempting, of whether or not they're going to tie Maxine to the Vision or something. Not really. Like, the Vision is nothing but fucking goobers, but they've got the belts because there's no real tag teams left in the company anymore. So what are we doing here? I don't know. They're there, the proposition, Javon Evans to join the Vision, whether he wants to or not. Real great. Real great. That's what you want. You want somebody involved in your faction that doesn't want to be there. Real good job, Chief. Like, I'll give Javon Evans so much credit here. He sold the idea of this impromptu match wonderfully in the setup to this. Like, having his gear on underneath his clothes, like street clothes, just ready to go. Should have gotten the ref out there just like a half a moment sooner to really sell this idea so he could immediately start battering Austin Theory. Because that's what this is. Like, it's Austin Theory is attempting to beat Javon Evans into submission for the sake of joining the Vision. Javon Evans does not need the Vision at all. I mean, they have done nothing to give him any reason to want to join the Vision. He is in the King of the Ring tournament simply by the virtue of his performance as an individual. Where is the logic here from the Vision? Paul Heyman's not around, so maybe that's why. There's a lack of intelligence or thought or logic in anything the Vision does. Anyway, real good energy to this impromptu match, even if it is fucking pointless. Uh, surprise, surprise, DQ finish. Javon Evans goes for an OG coder. Bron Breakker shows up out of nowhere and spears him out of midair. Good timing on that, but it is what it is. All for the sake of the Street Profits to run in and make the save. I don't really have much to say other than just have the Street Profits have a match for the tag titles, get the belts on them, have them do whatever they, can to revitalize your tag action, because I'm sorry, the Vision ain't gonna do it for pretty much anybody. Uh, Also, this led into the announcement with, I think this was the Seth Rollins promo video package that was responded to later in the night with one with Braun. Basically, Night of Champions, Seth versus Braun in a steel cage. Because we decided that giving Braun that clean win over Seth wasn't going to be the end of the feud, and we aren't going to move on from it. It is what it is. Like, they don't have much of a plan for the Vision. They don't have a plan for Seth right now. So fuck it. More side quests. All this is, I guess, in advance of some convoluted way to get Seth versus Roman at WrestleMania this year, probably. At least that'd be my assumption. Just keep both of them preoccupied with other stuff till then. Because it doesn't feel like there's anybody legitimately going to challenge Roman outside of his, bloodline bubble that he's in. It is what it is. It's fine. I guess. I don't know. Like, it's going to be another fucky finish in a steel cage. Who cares? But more importantly, King of the Ring semifinal, Oba Femi taking on Dominik Mysterio. This is exactly what you'd expect it to be. This is exactly what it should have been. Unfortunately, it makes it kind of like disappointing. Like, this should have been this should have been an earlier match in the tournament. This should have been one of the first matches in the tournament instead of the semifinal. Because it's Oba Femi, it's Dom Mysterio. Unless you have Dom do some sort of crazy fucking shenanigans, nobody's going to believe that he has an ounce of a chance in hell of beating Oba Femi in the ring. And there's some good shenanigans in the beginning. Dom does a wonderful job of selling how scared he is of Oba right off the rip. Spends a lot of time on the outside trying to, save face. So much so that he even goes to the outside at one point where Oba, I think, is chasing down JD, and he stuffs the ring bell hammer into his boot. Spends a lot of time setting up that, like, they stayed on that with that camera shot for way too long, really making sure that nobody missed it, just to set up, Oba Femi taking, I think, like a full-on 619 with the bell hammer to the face, kicks out, and unsurprisingly gets the win in what was basically a squash, a prolonged squash, but like, it's not gonna hurt Dom at all. It'd be nice if they had more in plan for Dom, just because, like, he felt so red hot, last year, easily, like at Survivor Series, and then this year that just felt like they haven't really had anything planned for him, particularly ever since he lost the IC belt to Penta. Uh, I don't know, like, he's so good at being such a dirtbag that I wish they would use him more than they do. He doesn't need to be main event in anything, but he does have a place in this company, being someone that could be, like, just an all-time great, like, well revered, for the next generation, showing people just what he can do. Uh, like, obviously, he's not going to blow anybody away with his wrestling ability, but his character work is top notch. Oba Femi, God, I just want him to win. That's it. I don't need anything more. He's hit that level where it's, the Goldberg stuff, where you just want to see him show up and beat the piss out of somebody and you're happy. It doesn't have to be complicated. Uh, anyway, overall, not the worst Raw of the year by any means, but also not something that you're really going to be super excited about. This was, WWE being the content factory that it is. You've all seen the clip of Eric André getting smashed the shit out of by Jacob Fatu, right? That's it. That's what you get these days. Doesn't get more complicated than that. We are spending 3 hours of our week fishing for something that will go viral. And it works. Anyway, SmackDown kicked off this week, very surprisingly, with a match. With an undisputed championship match. Gunther facing Cody Rhodes with Sami Zayn as a special guest referee. Not going to be, one of the all-time greats. Are people going to call it overbooked? Yeah, sure. I mean, this is where the suspension of disbelief kicks in, because why would Gunther, of all people, pick Sami Zayn, of all people, to be the special guest referee, to call it down the middle? They have a tumultuous history, to say the least. I understand it for the sake of messing with Cody, because him and Sami have been, in the past recent weeks, button heads. But that's it. Like, it doesn't give Gunther any reason to, why would he pick them? Like, for all we know, Ludwig Kaiser is still on the payroll for WWE. There was no fallout between Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. They are much older friends and would much likely see him in the corner of Gunther. Why wouldn't he want somebody like that? Obviously, ignoring kayfabe here, we all know why. Because he's being fucking class as El Grande Americano, and they can't interfere with that, obviously. But they could have found somebody else. But this overbooked nonsense was all in service for what we got in after the match. So, this was just storytelling. This is just storytelling with wrestling getting in the way. We get a lot of back and forth between Sami and Gunther and Cody, respectively. Very acrimonious situation for everybody involved. Really the most toxic throuple you could ever be involved in. Now, obviously, this leads to a contentious finish, we'll say. Sami kicks the ropes. Gunther falls over. Cody goes for a roll up. 1, 2, 3. Quick count. Cody retains. Immediately, Gunther goes marching to the back. He's got words with Nick Aldis. Like, Sami's, asking why everybody's questioning his authority. What the hell's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Cody's in the ring saying he doesn't want this to end that way. These people don't deserve that. Let's restart this son of a bitch right now. With a different ref. Very key. Honestly, it's within Cody's character to do that. It's Gunther is the last person that should be upset about this. He's the one who wanted Sami to be the referee. You should have called for something different. This is on you. Like, you made your bed. Like, you are the last person that's allowed to be upset about this, which is good heel shit for Gunther. I just prefer Gunther when he's that ice cold killer. That's just my personal preference. Like, that's nothing against the actual writing here. Anyway, it gets DQ'd real fucking quick with Sami coming in there with a fucking Luva kick and just making it feel like, oh, screw everybody. Just we want Sami to get booed forever now. Like, this is the type of shit they need to have Roman doing if they want people to actually boo Roman, but they don't have the balls to do it. Anyway, Surprise, surprise. Uh, WWE remembered they have other tag titles. Damian Priest, R-Truth defending against the Tongans. The sole sidekicks of Solo Sikoa and the MFTs. Uh, Before this match even starts, there is a prolonged segment with, for some reason, Tala and Tama just being like, "We don't trust you, bro. You gotta stay back here solo. We don't want nothing to do with you." Okay. We're just doing shit for the sake of doing shit now at this point. Honestly, Solo obviously is still upset about the whole stuff with, you know, the rest of the piss boys from the Bloodline running around doing Roman's bidding on SmackDown, his show. Uh, it's fine. What? Nobody fucking cares, man. Like, this is just padding out more Bloodline shenanigans because nobody gives a shit about the MFTs. And the Bloodline, I don't know what to do with it at this point. It's just gotten so boring. It feels like they've used all of the, like, they squeezed every last drop of blood out of this rock, but it just keeps going. Uh, Match itself is whatever. Like, the most surprising thing is, my God, how much R-Truth can still move. And Damien at least is trying to have fun out there. It wasn't much of a showcase for either of the Tongas. But Tala got to speak, which is fucking absurd that ever happens. Jeez. Anyway, what was next? Next we had Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Saints competing for the number one contender slot in the men's US title scene. Okay. Shockingly entertaining. Shouldn't be surprising. I'm a fan of Mello. Ricky has his moments. He's been getting more comfortable in the SmackDown roster these past couple of weeks, and this just works. It works. I gotta say though, like, highlight of this match to me was this finish where through Carmelo grabbing the top turnbuckle and Ricky grabbing him for that suplex, ripping the protective padding off there, and then taking that hit. The way he hit the exposed turnbuckle looked fucking wonderful. Uh, Honestly, one of my favorite spots of the goddamn night. It was like picture perfect. It looked like the most well executed and well deserving, like, unintentional hitting of the turnbuckle I've seen in a long time. Mello sold it perfectly. Ricky, being the character he is, took advantage of it at the right time and shown a lot of sort of motivation in getting that pin right at that moment too. Really selling it wonderfully. It was good, solid. Keeps things interesting for the men's US title scene. Like, the mid card scene is where, like, all the interesting action is happening, at least on the men's side. There's stuff happening on the main event scene, but it's feeling a little overbooked at this point, a little bit convoluted, and kind of unintentionally just boring by virtue of, this is what WWE does with their booking of people, this 50-50 booking style. Like, nobody can look weak, therefore nobody looks strong. Roman lost due to fuckery. Gunther's going to lose to fuckery. CM Punk lost to not quite fuckery, but borderline, because we let Roman get away with murder. Cody will lose to fuckery at some point. Like, Cody wins because of fuckery at this point. Like, there's very few, like, clean wins anymore, especially in, like, the major title scene. It's just, nobody can look weak, therefore nobody looks strong. Like, how do you build new stars with that? Like, how do you get people over if nobody can get, like, decisive victories? Like, Oba Femi is the only one that looks like a threat to anyone at this point in the company, because he goes out there and he squashes people. Yeah, sure, it's not a great way to build someone as anything beyond a monster. But you need to do something else with people if you want them to get over. Like, let them actually get a solid win after, a competitive match. It's fucking crazy to me. So many fucking caveats on this. No more than a better example of this is the semifinals for the King of the Ring tournament. Javon Evans versus Jey Uso. Now, Jey, you showed up for work sober, didn't pregame it, and I appreciate that, bro. Didn't get completely fucking gassed for this. And Javon Evans is like, yeah, God, the kid's got like an insanely high ceiling. And that's not a pun about him being able to fucking jump. That's just what it is. Like, he's got that wonderful baby face energy that can like reach through the screen and like pull you in. And then he's insanely dynamic on top of it. What more could you want? It's wonderful. But this is where I'm going to be fucking critical about their booking style, because on Raw, Javon took that massive spear from Bron in order to set up the idea of, oh, he's bandaged up and weak. Therefore, Jey looks like a fucking psycho in this goddamn match against Javon, targeting his ribs, making him look like a fucking heel throughout the entire ordeal. Like, okay, so what you're telling me is Jey beat Javon because Javon is banged up. So Javon, by all rights, should have won had he not done that match on Monday. And what does that mean for Javon in the future? Does that mean he should be a world title contender? If so, like, let's get on that ride. I don't want to see that path. I've seen the Jey with a main title. We saw that already. He got the World Heavyweight Championship run. We saw that. Wasn't that great? I mean, there was potential for it to be something really interesting and really cool, but it ended up just being like, entrance merchant becomes a meme. It didn't become anything beyond that. And it's not being critical of Jey's performance. They just had no interesting arc for him with the belt. It didn't seem like they had a plan beyond, hey, kid, here's the belt, do something with it. Like, why is it's fucking rough. It's fucking rough. But all this to say, Jey sees, our boy Javon Evans is beat up, bandaged up all around the midsection. Decides he's going to target that. That gets him the win over Javon. He's facing Oba Femi for the finals in the King of the Ring tournament at Night of Champions. Okay. I would have liked to see Javon versus Oba. I think that's a more interesting matchup because we've seen that on NXT. They haven't interacted at all since either one has moved up on the main roster. There's something to that. If this is to say, no, we didn't want Javon to get mixed up in the main event title chase because we want him mixing it up with the Vision, it's a waste of Javon Evans. It's a waste of the Vision because the Vision is a waste of all of our time, but it's a goddamn waste of Javon Evans, who you tell us on commentary to get behind. You tell us that you want us to believe that he is a future, Hall of Famer already. Stop holding him back. Like, give him the fucking ball, bro. It's okay to have, a young champion every once in a while. Like, we're not at WrestleMania. We're not even close to WrestleMania season. We're not even getting close to anything because you pushed back, like, how many different fucking shows this year. Like, get experimental with this shit. It's okay. Not every title reign needs to last a whole calendar year or longer. It's fine if it doesn't. Ugh. But I will say I really appreciated more than anything Javon Evans' dive on the outside over the barricade to the not the announce table, it was the ring bell table. That was wonderful. It's just a shame, I think, that happened during a commercial break. Now, surprise, surprise, final match of the night. It's the women's finals for the Queen of the Ring, or semifinals. We got Charlotte Flair facing off against Liv Morgan. We get a little backstage segment little face-to-face Charlotte Flair, you know, talking with Jade, B-Fab, and Michin for some reason. Honestly, doesn't make a lick of sense other than to set up that they are going to, stab her in the back and attack her and cripple her before her match. Which, why do we have, like, makes sense for, Jade to be there with her cronies. Makes sense that, she would be slighted for someone to be like, yeah, maybe I'll hold on to the belt longer than you, and, so on. Like, why she would be offended at that. It just seems like a long walk to get to a point when you already had something in place to make this happen in the form of Raquel and Roxanne, who are in the faction with Liv. Roxanne could have gotten her lick back from taking the loss on Raw. Raquel could have been upset because, she wants to be in the tournament still and she's not. They're both in the Judgment Day with Liv. Like, you already have people in place to execute on this and you don't use them. I don't understand why it had to be them. Anyway, this whole match is about Charlotte's leg being injured, her deciding that she's going to power through it and still compete anyway. Good physicality from both of them. I do want to say I really loved the moment where Charlotte has got the figure 4 locked in. She's going for the figure 8, but before she gets there, she does just a hell of a fucking slap to Liv's face in order to kind of get her in, off her game so she can, do the full arc up. Liv did a great job of selling that hit. They were decently fucking physical throughout all this, even with, Charlotte selling the idea of like, oh, my leg's injured, I can't really do anything. Charlotte as a face just works. I don't know. Somehow we got here. If you told me, however many years ago that Charlotte Flair would be one of the most over women's baby faces, I would say you're a downright liar because that's not possible. But she's finally tapped into what makes her work as a baby face, and that's just being, less the queen, Charlotte Flair, and just be more, Ashley Flair. All the credit in the world to her. This is a hell of a wonderful run. I mean, obviously, tons of credit goes to tag teaming with Alexa Bliss, but two of them made something work here so goddamn fucking great. But more surprising than any of this is Liv gets the win through a submission, which is not something that we usually have with Charlotte. It almost seemed like Charlotte has tapped out so few times. It seemed like an almost like plausible deniability on the first beginning of the tap. It didn't really look like she was actually trying to tap. It looked like a really subtle tap. But she gets the win. So now it's going to be, Liv and Iyo, Night of Champions, Queen of the Ring tournament final. Jey Uso versus Oba Femi for the King of the Ring tournament final. With the winner gets a world championship match at SummerSlam. So there's the boat that we're in. Okay? With Iyo and Liv. Liv gets the win. What does she do? She challenged Rhea. She challenged herself. I don't like either one of those outcomes. Downside is, I don't like the other outcome either. If Iyo gets the win, this is a non-title match. This is a chance for a title match at SummerSlam. So what are we going to do? We're going to have Iyo get the win on Liv here, and then at SummerSlam, Liv is going to get the win back and retain the title for no purpose. Because that's what it feels like. That it feels almost too clear of an obvious result at this point. And we could be surprised. I'd be happy to be surprised and have, Iyo get the win both nights. I'd be surprised if we have Liv get the win on the night at Night of Champions. Because, sure, why not? it is what it is. Also, during the show, we had Jay challenge Tiffy because we're moving Jay down the card, and Tiffy has the women's U.S. title, so we're gonna do that. Sure. We also get these three boys bitching about the Undisputed World Championship match and the shenanigans and that opening match between Cody, Gunther, and Sami Zayn. So it's decided we're doing the men's triple threat at Night of Champions for the U.S. title. Sure, fine. I don't love how we got here, but this is what we're dealing with, and it could be a very good triple threat. It could honestly be a very good triple threat. I just wish that we wouldn't have the sentiment that Cody is boring. His championship run is boring. Cody Rhodes as, face of the company, he's boring, sure. I know he has the potential to not be boring, but this is where we're at right now. We don't have anything really crazy for him to do. He's, in my opinion, one of the better wrestlers in WWE, we'll say. He's a carny motherfucker. He's willing to put himself and his body on the line to, generate ticket sales, to draw reaction, and to get people behind him. And I applaud that. Like, he's, if anything, committed to the bit, But they haven't found anything for him to commit to really doing in a long time. And that's why people are bored. They just are. They don't want to do this long-term, slow build on the stories when it feels like we're never going to get the actual end result. We delay too long with a lot of these arcs, and it just doesn't feel right. Besides that, for Night of Champions, we've got the steel cage match, Seth versus Braun. Fuckery abound. It's going to be fuckery abound. We know this. I don't think there's ever been a steel cage match in I don't know how long that didn't have fuckery involved in it. Fine, whatever. Like all Austin Theory, probably not Logan Paul. Maybe we'll get a returning Bronson Reed who'll jump off the top of the cage and hopefully not, break an ankle. But that's what we're gonna get. Ricky Saints could be facing off against Trick Williams for the men's US title. Good. I see there's a lot of upside for both these guys. I feel like they are almost at like the almost exactly expected stage of their careers. They are a good place on the card. I don't see either one of them, challenging, Cody or Roman for a title in the near future. But I see them perfectly, acceptable right here in this mid card slot. They're making the most of it, and I don't know like where their ceilings are at this point because it's too early in their careers to tell. But I think they are perfectly suited where they are. Jey Uso versus Oba Femi, on the other hand, is going to be probably one of the most contentious matches that we have from WWE this year. Just flat out, if Oba doesn't squash Jay right from the beginning, so many of us, myself included, are going to say, my God, what are we doing here with Oba Femi? The people, there are going to be people that are going to be saying, like, Jey Uso should win this. He's the veteran. He's been around longer. He's a merch mover. He's over as fuck. Those are all valid reasons to have Jey Uso lose and have Oba get the win. Like, put over Oba Femi as a monster. I do. This could be a prolonged squash. This could be a squash. This could be an actual competitive match. But either way, I don't look forward to the discourse post Night of Champions. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, luckily, there was some more stuff this week in the form of AEW Dynamite. AEW is setting up Forbidden Door this year. That's what we're doing. We're setting up Forbidden Door. As I spoke to earlier, obviously visa issues is keeping some talent away from the show. That's okay. We're going to spend our entire show on Dynamite, which is 4 matches, and the rest of the show is going to be around building up the rest of the stories that we've got cooking. And that's honestly fine. Surprising more than anything, opening up, we've got Smart Mark Sterling, Tony Nese, and Daivari are out there. Tony Nese is demanding a match. He's tired of being overlooked and not being featured on the show. And Tony Khan is happy to oblige. I will get you an opponent in the form of, by God, Kenny Omega. It's just the most, like, okay, you want a match. Here you go. You're having a match. Basically, another just prolonged squash for Kenny ahead of his match against Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door. Just keeping him tuned up. I do want to put over Tony Nese's moonsault in this little tune-up match. Just a thing of beauty on this night. Like, it was just perfectly executed. Looked fucking gorgeous. Tony Nese, excellent moonsault, even though you are never going to get the win over Kenny Omega at this point in your career. Also got to put over Mark Sterling taking a bump on the V-trigger on the apron and crashing into Daivari. Great. Fucking great. That was such a great fucking bump. Smart Mark Sterling does a wonderful job of selling bumps. That's what you want in a shit heel manager who's a fucking lawyer. Goddamn. Anyway, this was just to be like, hey, reminder, Kenny's got a match at Forbidden Door against Zack Sabre Jr., who shows up. He's not alone. He's with the rest of his boys from TMDK. It's just weird. They didn't say anything. They didn't throw a punch. Didn't rush the ring. Nothing. It is what it is. Fine. It's fine. Just a reminder, Kenny and Zack are having a match. And that's really all you have to say. Like, I'm here for it already. Now, the first proper match of the night, we've got Death Riders facing off Brodito. Death Riders in the form of Mox and Daniel Garcia taking on Brody King and Bandito. Haven't seen a lot of Brodito together as a team since they dropped the tag titles. Seemed like a good time to remind people that, okay, we're not going to forget about this team. We're going to keep them as a team. That's great. Everybody looked good in this. Everybody looked real fucking good in this. I really appreciated Marina getting involved ringside. Bandito is fucking money. Everybody loves Brody King. Moxley being Mox is awesome. Daniel Garcia's fucking reaction to Brodito doing the Macarena and countering it with his like little dance that he does is silly and somehow didn't feel out of place. I don't know. It's like so much of this with Brodito in particular shouldn't work yet somehow does. Like, oh yeah, no, Bandito is insanely strong. He is one of the strongest guys that we have on the fucking roster. Who do we pair him up with? Brody King, who's a fucking mountain of a man. And let's have them be, you know, like super wholesome, encouraging best friends who also take dance breaks. What? How is this a thing? It's insane. And it works. It just fucking works. But real highlight of the night was after this. Hazuki versus Mercedes Moné in the women's Owen Hart tournament semifinal. Oh, God. Okay. Hazuki, Mercedes stole the whole goddamn show with this fucking match. Just so fucking good. Solid amount of length. They got out there. They got time to fucking work. They got time to do some crazy fucking shit. I gotta put over the backstabber into the submission that they executed near the finish here. Just one of the most brutal looking wrenches into the moneymaker I think I've seen Mercedes ever fucking do. It was fucking great. There was like fucking 2 commercial breaks in this one, which is crazy. It didn't feel like it lost any momentum beginning to end. Jeez. There was wonderful DDTs. There was just smooth transitions from one thing to the next. I feel like, even though people say like Mercedes is one of the, best women wrestlers of all time, like still feels like people forget that. Like it's underrated. And Hazuki, what a goddamn fucking show to put on fucking Dynamite. Goddamn. I hope she gets featured more in the future. Anytime, you want to bring somebody in, bring her in. She's awesome. This is not one to miss. Just isn't. Goddamn. And then, as was cued off at the start of the show with MJF picking his team for the 12-man tag tonight. Okay. He's got 5 more people with him. He's roped in the Don Callis family, as we saw previously. And there was a moment in the beginning of the show with this, with Dunn announcing who's going to be with him. And it's going to be, Kyle Fletcher, Kevin Knight, Kazuchika Okada, Jake Doyle, and there's a moment where Trent looks like he's going to be the last man in this. And then, surprise, surprise, it's Andrade. And, like, they do the fallout of this in the moment, and you can just see Trent kind of like Charlie Browning it, like just sad sacking his way in the background about not getting picked, while Andrade's throwing a fit of like, I don't want to work with Max. Like, I fucking hate this dude. Why am I here? It's just so goddamn good. It's so fucking funny. That little things. Also, I gotta put over Trent and Rocky dressing like they're fresh off the set of Miami Vice. I don't know when this started being a thing, but it's fucking great. You guys look like such fucking scumbags. I love it. Also put over Brian Cage rocking his weightlifting trophies. Or his bodybuilding trophies. I'm sorry, not weightlifting. His bodybuilding trophies. Just that he's just walking around with a fucking medal on his neck like he's goddamn Kurt Angle. I love it. Oh, God. Anyway, MJF and the Don Callis family make their way to the entrance, and we get a little backstage thing with Mark Briscoe talking about how he needs to have some friends for his match, and he's got friends in the form of the conglomeration. Now, Ishii got taken out by the Don Callis family because I'm guessing they assumed that, he'd be one of his conglomeration buddies out there. So no Ishii. But we do have Kyle O'Reilly, Roddy Strong, Orange Cassidy, and what shouldn't be a surprise, Konosuke Takeshita is there, saying, just like he wants to rip the head off of Okada. He doesn't even fucking say it. He keeps it short and sweet. He says, Kyle, I want you. Okada, I hate you. Perfect. Doesn't need to be anything more than that. And then, surprise, surprise, last man on the team, Darby Allin is here. Done. We're here. We're set. Let's roll. It's MJF, it's Mark Briscoe facing off ahead of their Forbidden Door match. And to the surprise of absolutely fucking no one when it comes to these multi-man matches, it's a fucking party match. It's AEW. It's a goddamn party match. It's always a goddamn party match whenever you have more than 2 people facing off face to face. Like, let's fucking go. Done. It pure fucking mayhem. Also some fun character stuff where they're doing the Jake Doyle, like I'm breaking somebody's arm while my back is to the ring and my teammate has fed their arm to me. And then, oh no, how did MJF get slotted in here? And Andrade is playing it up and like jumping for joy in the moment. It's just fucking beautiful. Also, there was a moment where Darby was on the stage and he got tossed into the fucking ring post, and it looked so like he ragdolled. He flat out ragdolled on this fucking post. It was fucking perfect. Oh my God. I thought he was fucking dead. It was so goddamn great. Well, not going to be, one of the all-timer dynamites. Really just felt like table setting for Forbidden Door. It's great. It's great. So as of right now, I think with the pre-show, we've got 10 matches for Forbidden Door coming up. We've got a pre-show of Divine Dominion women's tag title match versus Thunder Rosa and Olympia, I believe is where it is right now. Then we've got the men's tag world title on the line. We've got Cope and Cage facing the Dogs, David Finlay, Clark Connors. Then, so I think it was set up by Mystico, said he wants to do a tag match at Forbidden Door with whoever, and the Bucks wanted to have a match. And then I don't know where Shingo and Titan got roped in, but they're also there. And Mystico revealed that his tag partner is going to be Mascara Dorada. So three-way tag match. Okay, it's good. This is the most Forbidden Door ass match out of anything on Forbidden Door. I can't be upset about it. It's gonna fucking rule. It's gonna be a Bucks party match, and it doesn't hurt that Mystico and Mascara Dorada are fucking class. It's gonna be awesome. We also have, as was set up in a backstage thing with Brodito. Bandito is challenging John Moxley for the men's for the AEW Continental Championship. I don't know why I said men's there, but it is what it is. Uh, Also set up was Shota Umino taking on Pac for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship match. It's gonna fucking roll. This match is gonna be awesome. Pac fucking rules. Shota is awesome. Mox has been high on that dude for a long time, and I would love to see just whatever craziness they've been cooking up. But really, the main story of Forbidden Door is being put on the back of Tekla, who has been doing a lot of groundwork in Japan, setting up the whole Forbidden Door aspect of this, setting up her match against Starlight Kid. She attacked the president again of Stardom again. I think she took clippers to his head in a surprise attack again. Just she's doing the most out of anybody to set up the more forbidden aspect of this fucking match. I love it. Uh, and then, as was revealed on the at Collision this week, we're going to be doing the women's Owen Hart Cup final, and Mercedes will be facing off against Maya World, who picked up a win off of Athena. Uh, I was surprised. I don't hate this. I love this. This is interesting, to say the least. More so than anything, it being two competitors who were not announced at the beginning of the tournament. Mercedes being the wild card, and Maya World being a slot in for Willow. I love this. This is making the most out of something I wouldn't expect. I honestly can't wait. Winner is, I think, for both the Owens, winner is a world title match at All In. So honestly, if they gave it to my world, that'd be fucking insane. I would kind of prefer Mercedes though, just because I feel like that'd be the bigger match if it's still Tekla at that point in time. If not, if it's somebody else, we'll see. I already talked about Kenny versus Zack Sabre Jr. There was a wonderful, wonderful promo between our men's Owen Hart Cup finalist, Will Ospreay and Swerve. Nothing complicated, nothing too crazy, not a lot of deep character work. This was just honest character work. Like both of these guys were just speaking from the heart. Like Will Ospreay, he wants to get his chance at All in Wembley for the men's world championship. Doesn't get much more clear than that. Straightforward. And Swerve being like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're hanging out with the Death Riders after everything we did with Hangman, being his time. You told me to step aside and let Hangman get this. I'm not stepping aside again. Also, there was a great bit of Swerve cursing. Just real choice. Love it. And then last thing is the steel cage match. Can't be upset about it. It's like it's not the most Forbidden Door show, but it doesn't look weak by any means, which is crazy to me. It's just like I don't know. There's a lot coming out of the show to be excited about. We'll have at least two big matches being set for All In. They're making it the biggest show that they have of the year, so it makes sense that they would do groundwork at a pay per view that leads up to it. This isn't like the Royal Rumble of like pay per views in the setup for WrestleMania. Because let's face it, that whole pay per view exists to set up matches for WrestleMania. But this feels like a good consolation prize for it not being able to be like, oh, hey, it's all of New Japan and CMLL facing off against AEW and Stardom. It's just, we're making the most of what we can get. And you can't really be upset about that. God, I feel like I spoke like a million miles a minute there. But that's, overall the week in wrestling. Also, congratulations to Will Ospreay and Alex Windsor for tying the knot and his friends getting him a wonderful championship belt to commemorate the fact. God, gotta love it. Also, shout out to Martha Hart being named Calgarian of the Year. I think that's very sweet, very nice. And also, shout out to Christian Cage. Happy Father's Day to all of our fathers. The father of all of us. Gotta love it. Anyway, that's going to do it for, well, just me this week. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, do the engagement, hit all the buttons. We really appreciate it. I appreciate it. Hit the links in the description below for our merch store, our subreddit, our Discord, all the fun places you can find us online at nightoff pod everywhere. And the only thing left to do is for me to say good night, I guess. Happy Father's Day. Good night. Yeah.